My name is Natalie Grant, and I'm the Bachelor of Social Work Program Director for the School of Social Work here at Wichita State. This is an overview of how the orientation is structured, and we're just going to do the welcome, talk about a career in social work, and I assume that many of you have ideas about what you want to do with your degree in social work, that most people come here for a reason. That could be a difficult experience in your life, something that you've been through, maybe something positive as well, to say, I want to do what that person did for me, or I want to be someone to help change the system so that I can do good things for other people. We're all here for a reason. We'll talk a little bit about the Code of Ethics, our goals and program objectives, the themes of our program. Both of our bachelor's program and our master's program is set up according to different themes. And those themes run all the way through the curriculum, so that sometimes it sounds like repetition in content, but what that is, it's the theme coming through to make sure that we get it in your head so that you remember, right? Because this is what we do as social workers, and it's the content that we need you to walk out of here knowing, so that you know better how to help people. We're going to talk about the concept of generalist social work practice. This is also our BSW and MSW program are both generalist programs, so we'll talk about what that means. What it takes to get into the School of Social Work, into the BSW program, admission process, and then about field practicum. These are some of our esteemed students in a picture. One of them is sitting in the back, that's Pam. They do good work out in the community as well. So quickly we'll talk about the mission of the School of Social Work. Have any of you ever seen a mission statement? Probably like everywhere you go, into any business, everyone has one, right? Why do people have mission statements?
To make their goals clear to whoever their clients are.
Absolutely, and although you guys are not our clients, you are our people. You are the reason that we're here. And so we want our goals to be apparent to you. What are we doing here? We want you to understand what our mission is. One, to prepare students for competent and ethical practice in metropolitan environments. In our scholarship, teaching, and service, we're committed to the enhancement of individual and community teaching and service. We're committed to the enhancement of individual and community well-being, with particular attention to the needs of Wichita and the surrounding region. So what sticks out for you? When I read this, what words stick out to you?
Committed.
Committed. Who's committed? We are. We are. You are. Okay. We are committed to the enhancement of individual and community teaching and well-being. It shows that we really have a job to do, and this is a job that is in many different places. Many of you may already think, I want to be a social worker that works with individuals. I want to work with clients to help them do whatever, right? Meet whatever goals they're looking for. But are there other levels of that? Can you imagine what might be going on when a client has a problem? Do you think that it's just their problem? Right, there might be bigger issues. There might be family issues, there might be community barriers, there might be political barriers, all that are going to affect a person. So we really have a multifaceted job to do. About a career in social work, wherever there are people with problems, individually or in groups, there are opportunities for employment as a social worker. It looks like we have some job security. Do y'all watch the news? Are there problems? Tons. So maybe we have some job security. Our jobs might change over time, just like anything else. What's been changing lately in the world of social services? Have you heard? Some of the budget cuts, some are being shut down. So does that mean that social work is going away? No, it means that we are in the center of change. And that's okay. But so job security is one thing. It doesn't mean that the moment you get your one and awesome, most perfect job, that that's going to always be there for you, because things change in the world, right? But what it does mean is that opportunities will still exist. Social workers are found in metropolitan centers and also in rural areas. Are any of you from a rural area? Where are you from?
Sedan.
Sedan, Kansas.
Pratt.
Pratt, okay. Anybody else? From Dodge, okay. Are the issues that happen in rural communities different than they might be in a metropolitan city? Yeah. How? Just give me a couple of examples. Like, what kind of issues have you ever seen in Dodge that might not exist so obviously in Wichita? Yeah. What kind of issues happen with farming? Okay, so the drought really affecting, yeah. Okay, and then there are people that rely on the farming, right, to sustain their lives. And that might, in the middle of Wichita, we might not be thinking so much about that because we can just go to the store and get whatever we're looking for, right? Yeah. So kind of imagine that how are we going to prepare each of you to work either in a rural community or a metropolitan? Is it possible?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Because what we're doing is we're preparing you to work in any environment, that you can transfer those skills. Have you ever heard of transferable skill building? That we're going to teach you about yourself, your motivation, your interests, where you're coming from as a worker, and you can take that anywhere. And you can learn some of the other issues that come about, right? Your work can be both physically and emotionally demanding because of its problem-solving focus, but it can also be rewarding. This is a big one. Have any of you ever heard of burnout? I say these really like, what? Of course I've heard of burnout. Because everybody's heard of burnout when it comes to social work, right? Because that's what everyone says to you. Is it true? Oh my gosh, you're going to burn out. Why are you doing this? Why do people burn out?
Stress and low pay, probably.
Oh, yeah, that does have something to do with it. You've heard about the low pay, right? Okay, so we're already okay with that. We're not here to get rich. So this means we have to take care of ourselves. And that's hard, isn't it? Because especially when we're caretakers of others, and I don't know about you, but do you struggle sometimes with leaving yourself kind of at the end of the line when it comes to caretaking, and then kind of paying attention to all the other needs of others before yourself? What happens to you when you do that?
You just kind of lose yourself, your health and your well-being just kind of slowly go downhill.
Yeah, it's not a fast process. It's not like you just wake up and like, oh no, I'm sick.
Yeah.
You know, it is slow and it's a little silent killer, isn't it? You have to take care of yourself in a business like this. What are some things that we can do to take care of our emotional and our physical well-being?
I think making sure that you take care of your health, you know, as far as exercise and sleep and nutrition, obviously, and also, you know, maybe setting aside a little bit of time for, you know, for things that you enjoy doing, some extracurricular activities, and maybe, you know, if possible, finding some help, like if you're taking care of an elderly parent or lots of kids or a disabled child or
Right.
disabled adult, to, you know, see what kind of resources are out there to help you, so that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is a really good time to take some of that on. Would you agree that college is a stressful time? Especially when we get towards midterms and finals and writing these papers, and we feel that stress come up. This is a good time to start practicing your well-being, taking care of yourself, and building in what feels good to you. I've done yoga for about 11 years now. I'm getting old, time is flying. Yoga really helps me, and it helps me feel good. I feel happier when I go. I feel stronger. I feel like I can take something on when I leave, you know, I'm like, stronger, yes. And that lasts only so long, so it means I have to keep going, right? But also it means getting a hold of some of the issues that you bring to this table. Like I say, some of us have come with some issues because of our past experiences, and I'm glad that you're here, but you also have to realize how some of those past experiences can affect you, and how you can be triggered by people or experiences or places that remind you of different things, and sometimes you don't even realize you're being triggered. And this means if we need some therapy, go get it. It's okay. Even if we're the helpers, it doesn't mean that we don't also need help sometimes. And before, now we're starting the time clock. You're in here getting ready to embark on the social work journey. Now we're on the time clock. You're how far away from being with people, helping them, being their helper. You have a responsibility to our society to take care of yourself before the other people. You get to them because they can't take it. You can't put your problems on them because they can't handle that. It's not fair. So it's something you really need to think about, and think about how can I be the best me so that I can be the best social worker for others. And that's one of the hard parts about our job. A lot of balance. And I'll say, just to wrap that part up, when I was practicing social work, I was a therapist at ComCare. Have you ever heard of ComCare? That's the community mental health center run by the county. And I worked with adults with severe and persistent mental illness. And literally every 50 minutes of my day, I had a new client, or I had a different client with a different mental illness diagnosis. So I could go from somebody who has a bipolar diagnosis to a schizophrenia diagnosis to a major depression diagnosis. Could you imagine how emotionally demanding that might be? My days, I was just like, ugh, because that's hard work to try to be engaged in that every day. So another reason to definitely take care of yourself. I used to go, and there was a park outside of the office, and I would run that thing even in the heat of the summertime. I'd get out there and just walk and run as fast as I could and come back and be ready for the second half of my day. And I found that worked pretty well. You got to find what works for you. Your unique nature as a person will become one of your qualifications for professional social work. We're not trying to make drones here, right? We're not putting you through some assembly line so you can be like me or be like whoever. You're going to be you, and you have to be honest with who you are and what you're good at and what you love, and bring that to your work. That unique nature makes you the good social worker that you're ready to be. So if you're funny, then learn how to use some of your humor appropriately, right? I'm kind of sarcastic, and I use lots of facial expressions. I had to learn how to use that to my advantage, right? Because sometimes people could interpret sarcasm in the wrong way. So when I'm practicing, I have to make sure that I'm using my sarcasm appropriately and not hurting people's feelings, right? So think about who you are and what you bring. Be open, honest, and aware of your own motivations and background. Like I say, our clients can't take it. That's not what they're here for. They're not here so that you can work out your own crap on them, right? It's simple, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous. They're vulnerable. That's why we call them vulnerable populations, and we can't afford to hurt them anymore. You must be able to accept people of different backgrounds and values and be able to tolerate frustration and emotional stress. We talk a lot about diversity, diversity concepts and acceptance of differences, and an awareness, a cultural competency. Have you heard all those words? We teach classes on those. You really have to think about where you're coming from when it comes to working with people that are different than you. There are prejudices and stereotypes and barriers that we have in our hearts and our minds that keep us from fully engaging with people. Social work, we are going to talk about this till the moment you graduate. Because, like I say, it's not about you, right? It's about our people that we're trying to work with and to help reach their goals. But you definitely play a part in there, and it's a vulnerable situation. Some of the professional expectations with the Code of Ethics. Have any of you heard of the Code of Ethics? The National Association of Social Workers, NASW Code of Ethics. How great that we would have a book or a set of guidelines that helps us make decisions when we have issues that come out. Do you know other professions that have that? There aren't many. So what does that tell us? If there are a set of guidelines that help us work through some of the issues that are going to come, what does that mean? Does it mean that similar things probably come about? People usually don't make rules until things have been shown several times. So while social work, it's an art and it's a science. And this is part of our guideline system that helps us understand the science. There's been research done that helps us understand where these rules come from. One, the core value is service, social justice, dignity and worth of the person, importance of human relationships, competence, and integrity. What's social justice? I'll pick number 2.
I think making sure that people of all walks of life have an equal, have equal legal rights and social rights and are treated equally no matter race, creed, color, that there's as much equal treatment as possible,
Okay.
as much equal access to services that they need as possible.
Okay.
And, being treated in the legal system, social equality for all races in the legal system as well as other public systems.
Okay, perfect. Any other ideas about what you think of when you think of social justice? What comes to mind? Equality, okay. Do you think we have a system of equality in our society?
No.
No? Just flat out, no.
I think we strive for it, and we try, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we're still a little bit young in the, the strive for social equality. I think, though, that the topic is out there,
Mm-hmm.
and at least the conversations are happening and some laws are being passed, and, where we're on the right path, but are we 100% there yet? I would say no.
Okay. And I can almost bet you $1 million, even though I don't have it, right? Because I'm a social worker too. You're going to come up against social justice issues when you're a social worker. Because if you're working with a client and you begin to see a pattern of the way that clients may not have access to services or may not have what they need to be successful, then we've kind of got a social justice issue. I know when I was a therapist, I was working with mothers, and consistently I saw mothers coming in who had their children taken away. And I'd been in school forever, but it wasn't something that I was really prepared for. I didn't understand, why do all of these mothers with mental illness not have their children? Because they were all devastated from it, and their depression and all of their illnesses were exacerbated by not having their children in their lives. Do I think that they deserved them? I don't know, because I don't feel like it's my decision to say whether somebody deserves something or not. But I think they had issues that kept them from being effective parents, and that's why they were taken, and I understand that. But it made me think, do we have a social justice issue? Are there services and programs that could be created for this kind of a population to help them be able to manage parenting? That was my first real experience with social justice, and thinking, yeah, so I went to my boss and I said, do we have any mothers groups? I have like 10 moms on my caseload that don't have their children, and I'm seeing a pattern here and I don't quite understand it. And she said, well, back when Clinton was in office, we had one. And I was like, 92, 93, and not since then. So a little bit of an issue here. And I realized that there's a lot of politically driven initiatives, and that was one of them. In welfare reform days, there were a lot of initiatives for mothers. But dignity and worth of a person. Are you going to be able to have dignity and worth for every person that walks into your office? It's a little bit scary, isn't it? Thinking, do you like everybody you come across? No. Right. So then when we have some of those barriers that come up, how are we going to work through that? This is something we'll talk a lot about in the social work program. Building relationships is exactly what we do. This is what we are very skilled at, is building relationships on an individual level, on a group level, and on the larger levels as well, so that we can advocate for people and make change on bigger levels. So we teach you a lot about relationship building. There's a science to it. And that doesn't take away that, well, that sounds like I wouldn't be feeling the process. You still are able to feel what happens, but when you build in more of the science, you're able to be a better artist. Okay, so some of the goals of our program are to prepare students for entry-level generalist social work practice with diverse client systems of various sizes and types. This is important, and you'll hear different professors who they may come from a more macro perspective or a more micro perspective. Have you heard those words in your class so far? Kind of depending on what class it is and what the orientation of the professor is, you'll hear more about how do I engage people and work in social work on a larger level and all the way through from the micro to the macro. Prepare students for continuing professional development that may include graduate social work education. Do any of you already know you want to get your master's degree? Okay. A lot of people come in and they say, well, I'm going to go ahead and take my master's too. So it's not a matter of taking. It's an application process, and you do have to apply and be accepted. And it's not as easy as just wanting it. This is the time where you really have to engage and say to yourself, right now, I've got to get my GPA up overall above a 3.0 if it's not. And really think about what do I need to present myself like when I'm ready to apply for a master's program, because that's really going to step it up a notch, isn't it? So sometimes students just think, oh, I'm just going straight through. So I'm just kind of telling you that it's not that easy, and it's going to get more difficult. Okay, so the competition's on. To prepare students for responsible community participation. We want you to be engaged in the community now while you're working in your education. And we have a student organization of social work, and we have all different ways of engaging in the WSU community as well as the larger community. We have a Facebook site that's always, Shauna Miller is on it, and she's posting things all the time to find out what's going on in the community. And so I encourage you to participate. We know you're busy. All of us are. We've all got families and school and work and all of these things, but you can make time to participate in the community. And I promise, it's fun. It's fun. Have you ever volunteered? Was it fun? It's fun. You walk out of there with like your heart all warm going, I like that. That feels good. Here's some of our program themes. 1, generalist practice. What does the word general mean?
Kind of all-encompassing.
All-encompassing? I'm sorry? Huh?
Like the basic or basis of something.
Okay, the basis of something, okay. So, have you heard of a generalist program before? Okay, what other kinds of programs have you heard of? I'm sorry?
Specialty programs.
Specialty programs? Okay, like clinical programs. You've heard of that? We are purposeful. Wichita State, the School of Social Work, when we were working on our programs for accreditation, we did a needs assessment in our Wichita and surrounding community. And what came out of that needs assessment was that our community needs generalists more than we need specialists. Because of the size and the needs of the community, that is why our program is deemed a generalist program, so that we can work with any client system, regardless of size, right? So individual, family, groups, whatever, and that we can bring a variety of techniques to that, that we're not just gonna say, we're limited to this bit of knowledge, and that's as far as we go. So we are really gearing you up to work here and in this surrounding community. We're practice-oriented and strive to instill specific values and skills within the student, drawing upon knowledge and perspective gained in the liberal arts and social work courses. Your liberal arts courses are very important. I heard some people talking about your foreign language earlier, and that's always like, why do I have to do this? And most of us know that when you complete that foreign language, you can't even speak it when you're done. So then tell me, why would we do this as a university? Why would you be asked to take this foreign language sequence? Okay, yeah. Somebody said something. Did you say something?
I said you don't have a choice.
Yeah, we like to make you do things too. No, yes.
I was going to say maybe partly because it'll give you a better understanding of somebody.
Absolutely. It really does help you in understanding what other people might go through in trying to learn English. Do you think we learned English in, what's 3 semesters? 27 months? No. Right. So it helps increase your understanding of diversity and what it takes to assimilate into a culture and an experience. We can kind of go through any class really in the liberal arts curriculum. You know, we could take political science and say, why would political science be relevant to us? What does political science study? Politics, a government. Does a government affect social work? Yeah. You betcha. Absolutely. So really, we draw from that liberal arts perspective to help you have this really well-rounded view of the world, where yes, you have your own values that you come with, but you also need an open mind, especially while you're in college. And then when you get out there, you need to open your mind even wider, because the world will shock you. Right now we're in our little protected environment, and we're preparing you to get ready for the big one, right? Some of you may have already had a taste of the larger society and kind of what's out there. But we want to help you know who you are going out as a professional. Okay, I'll move on. Professional identity. Particularly relevant in a metropolitan setting where there's convergence of many professional disciplines and roles. Who might we work with as social workers? Do you think we work with only social workers? Doctors, all kinds of healthcare professionals, wide range of people, cops, attorneys, and then the people that we're working to help, absolutely. So professionally, we also have to kind of understand who we are and what the social work role is. Believe it or not, social workers are a little bit oppressed in the professional world. So we sometimes have to stand up for who we are. We're social workers. We come with a great deal of knowledge, and our perspective is wonderful. And it deserves to have the participation in any table discussion, right? Because we have the perspective of the people that we're working to help, and all of these other things we're bringing it to. So sometimes we have to kind of nudge our way or knock the door down and fight for who we are and what we bring to the table, because we bring a lot of great things. Okay, every course in the curriculum addresses some aspect of professional identity or use of self, direct and indirect roles, in exercise that raise self-awareness, or in the content that illuminates the history and stance of the profession. We do a lot of group work in the social work program. So if you don't like groups, change your mind, because we're in for it. We do a lot of group work. There's just that expectation. One, because you don't work on an island, right? When we work in any agencies, we don't just get to go in our office and never have to work with others. We have to work with some of the most difficult people in our society that people have shoved underneath, right? To the underground like they don't exist. And I'm not talking about even the people that were not our clients. I'm just kidding. No, we have all different kinds of people that we have to work with. So let's get started now. Keep an open mind. Don't walk in going, I hate group work. I know her. She never does her part in the group. She's going to ruin our group. Well, guess what's going to happen to the group? You come in with that attitude, it's probably going to get ruined. I don't know, self-fulfilling prophecies. Yeah, so attitude's everything. Be prepared. Values and ethics. All sequence areas explore the application of social work values and ethics to the generalist model. We do lots of role-playing, reading. Reading is important. Don't ever ask your professor, do I have to buy that textbook? Okay? Just make a promise to me now. Don't say it. What do you think? Yes. Even in your other classes before social work, you maybe got away without having to buy the textbook. We really do figure out what books are best. Now, we don't sit up there and teach on a PowerPoint from the textbook because you are capable of reading, right? But it's your responsibility to read your material and then come to class so you can do the fun stuff, right? So you can talk and engage and do role plays and exercises and have that background. Don't try to say, I'm going to see if I can get away without ever buying a book. Don't even play those kinds of games here, okay? Because you really do need them. I understand they're expensive. And if that becomes an issue, then talk to us because we're also a bunch of social workers and we love to help. So when you have problems, make sure that you come and say something. And we understand that money is sometimes an issue. There's always ways around things, right? Okay. I'll move. Diversity. We talked just a little bit about this a minute ago, but the curriculum includes content on all aspects of a diversity noted in the Code of Ethics and Accreditation Standards. There will be content related to color, community, or women, LGBT community, age, disability, national origin, religion. All of these will be kind of infused in the curriculum. There may not be specific classes that focus on one of these areas at one time, but there will be information all the way through. First, we'll come up talking about what do we believe? What kind of biases do we come with? And it's important that you use the classroom environment when you're in social work to really start to kind of process some of that. Where does that come from? A lot of times family and growing up and, you know, it just is what it is. But let's be honest about it and start to work to change it. That's all we're saying. Our classrooms are safe environments. They should be. And you can treat them like that. And go ahead and allow yourself to make mistakes. Say something that might be kind of, you know, honest for you, but maybe you wouldn't say it somewhere else, so that you can begin to learn how to talk out of it, right? Process. It's all about process. Knowledge of institutionalized oppression, ability to engage clients in an empowering, helping process. We don't want people to be dependent on us as social workers. You understand what I'm saying? That we work to help work ourselves out of a job with these people, right? We don't want them to need us. We want them to be able to do for themselves and to meet their own goals. So I like to use the idea, work yourself out of a job with them. Yes?
One instructor said, she said basically we need to teach them how to use the tools we give them.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and sometimes along the way we're learning tools too, because we're willing to say, I'm not the know-it-all. You know, I can have a doctorate in whatever, but does that mean I know all the things there is about people in social work? No, not necessarily. I'm willing to also step out of my box and learn. And do that with your clients too, to say, I remember when I had a guy, he was transgender, and I didn't know a lot about it. And he would come in fishnet pantyhose and really small shorts, and I was just like, looking in my mind, I wasn't doing that on the outside, but I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. And finally I just had to say to him, I'm going to have to get some literature out and kind of understand this a little bit better. And when I came back and I would bring him what I found, and I'm like, I found these articles and this kind of helps me understand, are these the issues you are thinking of? And he'd be like, you know, I've never even read about it. I don't know. So I learned right there that I could also be a little bit vulnerable in my own weakness, if you want to call it that, and then share that experience. And he loved that I was actually able to bring that information to him and help him learn about his own issue, right? So that's just one example, but I think absolutely that we want to work ourselves out of a job. We want to help them find the tools they need to do their own work. This is the dimensions of the definition of generalist practice. There's an acquisition of eclectic knowledge base. You know, I like to think in social work that wherever it comes from, whoever said it, a theorist, somebody has a great technique out there that maybe isn't a social work technique, maybe it's drawn from something like psychology or sociology, we'll take it. If it works with somebody, let's do it. We're okay with that, right? I don't have to be the one to make it up and be credited. If it's going to work with my people, I'll do it. So that means we have to learn what's out there, and we have to kind of keep up with it too, right? And so drawing from other disciplines, an eclectic knowledge base, wherever you can get it from, if it's going to help and work, let's do it. But do have research that backs it up. You know, don't just be trying the newest thing that you found on the Time magazine front cover and be like, hey, I have a new technique. I don't mean that, but do have research to back up what your ideas are you're bringing to your clients. Their assumption, number 7, I want just number 6, supervision is very important in social work. We have supervisors for a reason. 1, because we're not an island. 2, because there's people out there who've done it longer than us. And they may have worked with our population longer, and they have good stuff. And they help us work through our stuff that comes up. We need to have good relationships with our supervisors, and that's your responsibility. Have you ever had a crappy supervisor? And what was your tendency, how did you work with that crappy supervisor? Went right around them, try to avoid. We don't get to do that anymore. That's hard. That's hard. So we start thinking now, how do I develop a good relationship no matter what? The best relationship, working relationship that I can have with this person that brings out their greatest skills and helps me have what I need in my work environment. That's your responsibility. That's your responsibility in practicum, not just to say, oh, you know, you're supposed to do this for me. No, it's all about you developing those relationships. I believe that it's very possible, even in the hardest situations. The people that you don't like, let that be your challenge. Right? If you don't naturally have that connection to them, then say, okay, I've been given a challenge here. How am I going to make this work? That's hard. Wide range of roles. We know that social workers don't just fill one role. Oftentimes we have many roles that we're filling at the same time. And it's kind of based on what the client needs, what the agency needs, what you need, everything all at once. We're working on many levels at one time. So we can pick out kind of whatever we're being. Some people will say, I want to help people. I want to be an advocate. I want to go to the government or whatever and advocate for people around whatever issue you think about. Well, it's not possible just to be an advocate and that's it, right? And if you think, well, that's not my job, all I do is advocate, then you've already limited your practice. You won't be serving your people at the level that you should be. So don't limit yourself. Don't label yourself beyond anything like social worker, right? Jack of all trades. Critical thinking skills. These are important. You have to think. And then use of a plan change process. As you progress through the curriculum, you'll learn about the plan change process and what that is. But it's not just whatever comes to mind and you just make the change, right? Maybe there is a little bit of science to it, and we're going to teach you about that. Okay, so switching gears about pre-program requirements. In order to be admitted to the program, you need to be at a sophomore rank or above with 45 credit hours. If you are under that, then we wait. You need to be at the 45 hours. And what this really ensures is that you have completed most of your general education requirements. This is going to get more strict. Doesn't mean we don't want you. It means that we're going to have everybody at the same level when you come in. Because our program is growing, we have to stick to rules, right? So if you don't have your math done or your speech done or whatever, then you can't get in until it's done. So that's just kind of the way it is. That'll give you enough motivation to get it done, right? I saved speech for the last semester of my senior year. Did I ever think I would be standing up in front of people? No. No, I thought, oh, I can't do it. I can't talk in front of people. But you don't get to save it anymore. You have to have at least a 2.0 or above, and you have to keep that, and then attend this orientation session. Your basic skills courses, English 101, 102, speech and math, all have to be complete before you get in. There's a human biology requirement. If you took it at junior college, it's called biology, general biology. If you took it here, it's human organism, or a human biology equivalent, and that could be like anatomy and physiology if you were nursing and changed your mind. Psychology and sociology, the 100 level introduction courses are both required, and then the introduction to social work class. Does anyone have any questions on these requirements? A lot of these are offered in the summertime. If there's kind of an issue with getting in, or if you need advising, always come and let us help you. In your packet today, in your white envelope, there is an application that includes the application form. There's a requirement of a personal narrative, and in your Social Work 201 course, you're working on what's that paper called? The values paper. That paper can be used as a guide for this, but don't just turn that paper in, okay, because it's really obvious. I think that paper's 5 pages or something, 3 to 5. This one is not, it's 2. So write a paper special for this. There's a BSW conduct agreement that's included in there, as well as a criminal history disclaimer. If you have a criminal history that you do not disclose, it will prevent you from moving through practicum, getting into a practicum placement. It could prevent you from being a social worker. It is very important that you talk about your history. DUIs, domestic violence kind of issues, if any of those things have come up, be upfront. We run background checks if we need to, and it'll show up. So, and then it looks like you've been hiding something. We don't want to play those games. We just have to talk about this. We understand that things have happened in some of your lives, and that's okay. But we have to know where to start from, because we advocate for you out in the community, and if it makes us look like we're lying, not good, right? And say, oh, we didn't know. We don't want that. So all of this is in there, as well as 2 references. They don't have to be social workers, because I understand now you may not have access to social workers. So somebody that knows you, not your mama, other people. There are submission deadlines, October 1st for this fall, and March 1st for the spring if you decide that you're going to wait. The admissions decisions are made by a committee. We take all of your applications. It's not competitive so much as it is making sure that all of your, everything's done in order for you to get in. But we have to balance how many people, how many spaces we have in our program available in our classroom. And so you will be put into a ranking system, and if you fall below that ranking, we wait till the next round. So it's not an automatic. You need your GPA to be as high as possible. Like I say, that criminal disclaimer thing, that's all factoring in. So we need to make sure that we get you high enough on the ranking.
It said that we could be like, if we're enrolled in the psychology and sociology, then can we still?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. If you're enrolled in the courses that are required for admission, yes. And what will happen is we'll send you a letter and say when we get the confirmation that those are complete with a C or better, then you're in. Okay. This is a list of our faculty, just so you can kind of begin to become familiar with their names. And the roles that if people have administrative responsibilities. You met Dr. Brian Bolin. He's the chair of our department. That means he's the boss. When you have issues, first you come to BSW director. If you have not been able to resolve those issues with your instructor, come to BSW director. If you don't resolve them with me appropriately, Dr. Bolin is next. And so when you have issues, just remember, don't run to the dean, like the dean of liberal arts and sciences, because you're welcome to go visit them anytime, but don't make that your first stop. You always have to use chain of command. So just kind of teaching you a little bit about our program and how that chain of command works when you have issues. And so you may have other people that are your instructors as well. Chris Darnell and Tricia Winrick are our administrative specialists. They are like the communication gurus of our department. You need appointments, call them. Don't wait for your faculty to get back to you if you're having trouble getting a hold of them. Sometimes you'll say, I've called, no one ever wrote back. Call them and get an appointment with them. They'll also know where everyone is. We teach at the west side, we teach at the south side, we have all these other committees and things we're on. People are just in and out. Office hours are important, and also making an appointment is the right route. Our student organization of social work also has representation here today. You might have noticed there was a booth set up back there. And right now our president is Tim Hunter and vice president is Pam Oliver. And they are working on some elections to get the secretary and treasurer. But I want to just give them a couple of minutes to kind of talk about our organization.
Hi, how you all doing? The Student Organization of Social Work, SOSW, it is now covering all BSW students and MSW students. We are going to be holding elections, and this is kind of neat to see this many people here because we're hoping that you'll get involved. And right now, everybody should have got one of these. If you didn't, there's some on the table back there. Normally the membership is $15, but right now, $5 you can get it for. Okay?
The low price.
So we're going to be running that for a couple weeks, to get people more active and involved and everything. The one thing is it's real good for you as sophomores and juniors to get involved in the student organization, because then when you become seniors, you know what's going on and you can move right through things a lot easier and everything. We have some fun things that we do. We have some serious things we do. We'll be doing on the 23rd of September, we'll be doing the Veterans Homeless Stand Down. We're collecting a bunch of socks for them, and we'll be handing them out to the homeless. Okay, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be sending out mass emails to everybody in the program on that. Also, when you join, you can go to join OrgSync, and it'll have all the information of when the events are and what's going on. And if you haven't paid your $5 yet, you'll put in a pending membership where you can still see what activities are going on, but just doesn't let you get into certain things like voting and stuff like that. But we're needing a secretary and a treasurer, so when the voting comes out and you guys are ready, please join us. I mean, we're going to have a lot of fun. We do trunk or treat. First time this year, we had our banner. If you were at convocation.
Here it is.
There's our banner we had up. Did we win? No. But you know what? It's not about winning. It's about being noticed and getting our word out there that, hey, we're here to help build that path for change. And that's what we're here about. And, not only am I just the president, but, I'm going to be your colleague someday, I mean, I'm in my last year, and Natalie's had to put up with a lot of me, so she'll be glad to get rid of me. But it's a lot of fun. It really is. We have a lot of fun doing things, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, there's a lot of benefits. I mean, because the licensing exam, when you get to your senior year, you'll be wanting to get yourself licensed, possibly when you graduate, and so we'll have a licensing exam workshop for that, and your membership fees go towards that, so you won't have to pay when it comes down time for it. Because if you're not a member, you're probably going to pay about $30 to get into it. Okay, which is what's better, $5 now or $30?
Think ahead. And these T-shirts, we may still have some of those available.
Yeah, we have larger sizes of them available right now. We don't have the smaller sizes, but we're working on a plan to make T-shirts a little bit better, because people wanted different colors, they wanted different styles. They didn't like the neck like this. They wanted a V cut, So we're looking at the iron-on process for t-shirts, and we did it for the move-in day, and it worked really good. I have to give my hand to Pam. She worked hard on it, and it worked real good on the style she made for it and everything. You saw the two at the beginning with the yellow shirts, and it had a symbol similar to this on it, and so we're looking at doing that where it won't be so expensive, you know, to have a t-shirt. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank
No?
you.
Don't hesitate to join. We'd like to see you out there helping us out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and just wrapping up, we have, of course, they were talking about going online. So wichita.edu, you can put social work in the little search box and the social work information will come up. There's all kinds of calendars and resources, our manuals, that kind of stuff on there. Here's also our Facebook, so friend us or like us on Facebook. So Shauna, that you just met earlier, she is a guru on Facebook. That woman has it all on there. So we won't be able to see like your personal information or anything like that. If you like it, it'll just be like another page that you subscribe to. So, so do have that on there too. And so again, October 1st, your application's due for this semester. If you're going to wait till spring, then March 1st. Here's my information, and again, it's on that school social work site. Do you guys have any questions? Was that a lot of information? You awake? You excited? Okay. Email if you have any questions. Email works great for me. Otherwise, make appointments, make phone calls, whatever you need, okay? It's nice to meet you guys. If appointments, make administrability. 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 We're talking
$30.
It's 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 administrative responsibility 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 responsibility